recording. Meredith, are you ready to rock and roll?
I am. Thank you.
Okay, we didn't want to lose you. We've had some pretty exciting conversations in here while we've been waiting. The puns have been coming hot and heavy. So, is there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none.
Hold on. Do we have proof? Oh, never mind. I see it. Thank you.
Okay. Laura's here too. Yay. Now we're all here. Is Laura on? Hi, Laura. She's still connecting. Hi, Laura. Just wave your hand if you can hear us.
It's a picture.
Hi, Laura. Peace. Peace. Or do you want to drag? Members of the public. So I go, Bridget is in public. I saw the newspapers lady somewhere.
Yeah,
Hey, Deerfield Valley News, you're kind of members of the public. Do you have anything you want to share?
I don't know where they went. I think she dropped out.
No, she's right there. She's shaking her head no.
Oh,
I don't think so.
oh, sorry.
Okay, thank you. So I do want to say we have Eli Porter here over sitting in to our left, to the audience's right. Eli is a parent and the parent of some students and the husband of a person, a volunteer at the school.
Yeah, she's an
She
employee.
runs that.
Oh, she's an employee of the school who runs Laughter. And so Eli saw at the open house that there was an opening.
Yeah.
So he did express some interest and sent something to Bob. So he, I guess about 15, 20 minutes ago, Bob sent us something that Eli had written, but we didn't really put it on the agenda to interview and appoint or interview and vote on a board member. So, but Eli, if you want to just say hi or say something for a couple minutes, or if not, that's fine too. And we're gonna catch up with you in a couple weeks
Okay.
in Dover. I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, yeah, I think pretty much that's it. I just want to get involved with the school a little more. I think parents kind of have an obligation to do that.
And when you talk, he points his camera at you.
Yeah.
Don't get nervous. And then you get points if you make him talk on camera. Okay, so thank you, Eli. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Oh, no problem.
So I got members of the staff. Bridget, I think you're the only staff person we have. Isn't she there? Yeah, Bridget.
I have nothing to add, thank you.
Okay, thank you for coming, Bridget. So old business. Greg Frost was here somewhere. Oh, F for Frost.
Nope, Bob.
No.
No, us F is me.
They're moving
Oh.
around on us. Yeah, they are.
Oh, there's Greg.
Look at
Hi, Greg.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. So, hey, the puns are flowing hot and heavy here earlier. So we're all charged up about an electric bus.
Are you? Me too.
So, but anyways, you can't do that one because that's third on your list. So the PCBs come first. We're not too charged about those. But there's anything new on that for Tracy's building?
No, there hasn't been anything new. We are coming up on the time to get new filters here in the next month or so. So I'll be reaching out to the state to try to figure out if there's funding for that or if we need to now pay for the carbon filter replacements. So you get a year out of them. So.
Okay, so are the old filters like hazardous waste because they got PCBs?
That's a good question. I think we threw them out in the first time.
Oh, well, I was going to say if they are, we can just ship them back to the state where once they come from and let them deal with them.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then the roof update, I think that's probably you and Tracy, because I think Tracy was supposed to, or you and Tracy were giving the contractors some information on some stuff they got ruined and they were going to replace it.
Yep. Yeah, Tracy's still working with her art teacher to get that finished up. I actually met with Tracy last week and she came in, the art teacher came in while I was there. She's working on it. She's chipping away at it. But other than that, we're done. They came and did the final inspection. Everything went well. So that's the final piece.
So we have, what, a 40-year warranty on it?
I think 20. I think 20. But the 20 is like, they come. The people that did the inspection, they gave us their cards directly and said, if there's an issue, you call us, we come.
Oh, good. So we're out of the middle, kind of.
Yeah. Yep.
Well,
Yep,
that's
so
nice.
we go to them directly, and they will come, and if they can't come, then they would be the ones to call, the Reed or someone else, but generally they come. Yeah, I was impressed, Rich. The guy came with basically like a broomstick with a needle, like an L on it, and he dragged that thing down every single seam, and if he could put that thing inside any of the seams, if he caught a lip or anything, he marked it, and they had to patch it.
Oh, good.
So yeah, no, I was impressed. As a company, Duralast really stands by their product, and they did the things they said they would do as far as, their people came and monitored the project at different points, and so no, I was happy with them.
Yeah, and the product seemed a lot better. I really like that visual they gave you, where they gave you a piece of their material and a piece of regular rubber roofing, and try pulling on them, and the rubber ripped pretty hard, and that stuff you couldn't move. So, hey,
Absolutely.
now what about, because we only did like a little over half the roof, so we still have the other half to do next year, right?
Yeah, we'll put that out in the spring again, and it'll be on the capital budget for approval.
Okay, so are you and you will talk with Heidi to make sure that we got funding and stuff, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does anybody have anything on the roofs? Is everybody happy? Tracy went away. She didn't like the roof. Well, I mean, that's got to have been tough on all you guys. I mean, I know, Greg, you were there a few times, pushing water off, and it's nice when the owners of the company doing the install, they're doing it too. So, I mean, it seemed like it was a really good setup.
Yeah, the stand-up crew,
And then, did we check, like, wherever there were leaks? Did we check that to make sure it dried completely and there was no damage from, like, the water coming through? Tracy's shaking her head. Yes, okay. I just don't want us to have an issue down the road where somebody thinks there's mold or something. So then, now we can do the Electric Avenue bus.
The Electric Avenue bus, Rich. Yep. So the 26th of September, the committee looked at it. We reviewed the two bids. The bid from WC Cressy was about $380,000 with the charger, whereas the Bluebird bus from Anderson came in at $345,000. Anderson brought a bus over. I don't know when it was, to be honest. It's all a blur, but they brought it over. We took it. Dwight and I went for I think probably a half an hour, 40-minute ride in the bus. We went up Cooper Hill and down Valley View, out around the base of Mount Snow. We visited Rich and said hi.
We filled you up with diesel fuel to make sure, just in case.
Yeah. Rich topped us off. But no, I'll tell you the things that they talk about that you wouldn't know unless you rode in one, like the regenerative braking. I mean, we were going down Dover Hill, and that regenerative braking slows that bus down on that. And so in that way, you start to see kind of some of the side effects of that and how that benefits the bus. The way the motor works out, and the batteries in the middle, and the motors in the electric motors in the back. So your weight is actually better balanced in the vehicle, So in those ways, it seems like a good deal. Given the fact that the government has given us the 345, we talked about to get to a 3-phase chargers at like an additional $10,000. I think that would be worth doing. I mean, I just think if you're going to spend the money with the electricians to run the power, it makes sense to do that. It makes more sense to run it off the building, which initially I didn't think so, but the reality is if you run it off the building, now you're going to start to use some of your excess solar credits, and it's, because you're making a little bit more than you're using in the building. So, now you're going to use some of that. So it's like you're even going to get some free charging. And so for 10 grand with that, they said, estimate between 15 and 20 for your electrical costs, because their engineer looked at the Dover building while they were there and said that you would need to work the panel a little bit and kind of move some things and do some double breakers to make enough space, but you have the power in it. You just don't have the breaker spaces. So they said you could easily run it right from there, then get the conduit out there. So to me, it made more sense to do it that way rather than the trenching and coming off the junction box, halfway up the hill there. So, I would recommend that you do it off the building. We can pay like $3,000 for an extra cord. So, all in all, say you spent 20 on the install, 10 for the 3-phase and 3 there. So it'd be like 33,000. I would say that we always would want to spend 33,000 to get a free 345. Given the fact that you have 2 buses, you'll still have 2 diesel buses as well. I mean, you're pretty well insulated as a building. If it works out that there are issues and it's not as good of a vehicle as we think it is, or they think it is.
Okay, and then, so if I remember right, Lori corrected us a couple times. It really wasn't a grant. It was a reimbursement or something. We need to spend the money and then we get reimbursed.
It's not, yeah,
I-
that's actually, it's called a rebate program. There's 2
Right.
programs. There's a rebate and a grant program.
Okay.
Even though it's called a rebate program, I did some research on it, on exactly the process of getting the money. Basically, all we need to do is provide an agreement between us and purchasing the vehicle, and that's good enough to get the money for us to give to. So we don't have to spend out of pocket. Is the bottom line. Even though they're calling it a rebate, but we do have to have an actual agreement for the purchase bill of sale, and once we have that, we can submit that form to the government, and that'll suffice for actually having.
Okay, now what about the charging station though, or the charging we need to do?
The charging station would have been included, but it's because it's only up to 345,000, so that covers the cost. I do believe, Greg, that there is some monies available from Green Mountain Power though that may.
I did email them. I emailed them last week and asked them like, hey, given this, we have the EPA. Would there be any support on the infrastructure piece? Thinking of like, would they be willing to chip in on the additional 10,000 for the 3-phase, or if nothing else, at least help us maybe with the electrical cost to get the power out to it, type of thing. I haven't heard back.
Yeah, they did mention that when we met with them the first time, there was some grants available for that as well. I'm not sure what that is.
So what about the bus we're going to get rid of? Because we had to take a bus out of service, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
So is that like the Obama bus? Do we have to put a hole in the engine block and cut the frame in half 3 spots, or can we just sell that off for scrap or something?
There is a process for getting rid of the
Okay, what do you
bus.
know what
So
that
we have
is?
to absolutely take it. It has to be taken out of service.
So it can't be used for anything.
No, we have to take it out of service and bring it to a junkyard, and we have to provide documentation that we actually brought it there and they took it out of service.
Right, but can we also sell for the value of the scrap?
Possibly, I'll have to look further into that. I'm not quite
We should
sure.
look into
but
that, because
yeah,
we may get half of what you need for your charging station. 'Cause,
yeah.
I mean, even if the engine isn't running, it's still got some scrap value.
Possibly. I'll look into that a little bit. I do know it has to be put out of service. Sure, but
Yeah, well,
possibly.
like I said, what we did last time was, we had to cut the frame.
Yeah.
They put a hole in the engine block and then just took a picture of the hole in the engine block, the frame cut, and then it went for scrap.
I'll look into that a little further.
Okay, so let's find out about that. Because I am just concerned, especially I saw Tracy maybe going to be over budget, and there was a couple items that happened. Remember at the end of last year with help and bus drivers so I think we really need to pay attention to our nickels and dimes. So how do you have the contract? Do we need to, I'm sorry.
I get one more question.
Yeah, hang on a second. Dwight, do you have anything else? Because this has been your baby.
No, I think that's it. I mean, the only question for Greg is, can we get just the level 2 at this point and add that at a later date, or are you saying it's cheaper to put the 2?
Well,
If you're going to pull all that wire out, to pull single phase wire out versus pulling the 3 wires out, like you're talking about a different size conduit more than likely, right? I mean, I just think if you're going to spend the time to do it and you're going to pull the right amount of power, get it out there now. And
Yeah.
I'm a do it once, you know what I mean? The best way we can, if we can't, obviously when money affords that.
I mean, we can.
We can still buy the bus. We can make the charging
right.
station kind of a separate issue.
Yes, we can do that.
So Greg, why don't we do that? Why don't we look into that a little bit? Even if we do the conduit once, maybe we can just add wire and it'll be easier.
Okay.
You know, depending on the cost of the wire, but let's make sure too, and let's check with Tracy and make sure that, you know, there's money in the budget and we're not going to be have her short somewhere else.
Yeah, because we have some time on that too, right, Greg? I mean, if we order this now, my understanding we wouldn't be getting it until somewhere around March.
Yeah, we've got plenty of time to sort out the rest. It's just, I think we need this as soon as possible, really. I think, what was it, early November, he needed to know by for the grant.
Right. It's actually October 31st. We need to have that decision made by the board. Because that's one of the documents we'll need is you know, sign off by the board of directors that this was.
Yeah. So in a way, though, we need to know, we need to make the decision which way we want to go, because I'll have to ask for a bid for the additional 10,000 for the 3-phase charger, or we would sign the contract that he gave us for 345 and just take the single-phase charger they included.
Yeah, which is fine. We could just do that, and then we could decide to add that later on. You know?
Yeah,
because
we
the
could
infrastructure won't
upgrade
go
it.
until the spring, probably anyhow. Yeah.
Okay, well, you're not going to put it in March, though. That's the problem. If the
Right. Well,
bus
even
is
then, we
delivered.
wouldn't put it in. Yeah. Right.
Okay, are you all good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, Mike had a question, then we'll go to Laura and Kate if you guys have anything.
Yeah, I was just curious if there was a mileage minimum to qualify. Let's just, God forbid, it lays an egg, and the drivers don't want to drive it. Do we have to? Is there a minimum that we have to meet each year on this bad boy? And when can we move on from it and sell it?
5 years. I know 5 years is the answer to the second question. I would defer to Dwight as to whether or not there's a.
I mean, there's no minimum mileage per se. There is an expectation that we'll put this into service. That's in some form. You know, I think, you know, based on what we're getting 125 miles is the maximum. So we drove it all around on a beautiful sunny day, and basically more than what the route was, right, Greg? And there we still had like 75% of the battery left. So, you know, we will certainly be able to do one run a day, no trouble, any time of the year. Whether or not we need to do both runs, well, we would have to charge between runs, certainly on a cold day. You know, on a cold day. In the spring, we may be able to do 2 runs with it.
But
without
that's
charge.
okay. It's going to sit for 6 to 7 hours.
Right. Yeah. So we'd have no trouble. That's the goal was to make sure we could use it any time of year for both runs if we needed to, and we feel comfortable, especially with a level 3 charger, that we could do that. So you know, at the minimum, using it once a day will save life of the diesel engines. You know, because we're saving you having to use those. So we want to extend the life of the diesel engine and also use it the electric.
And they may like it better.
And they might like it better, but that's, you know,
the torque is nice.
The torque is nice,
What they
right?
say.
The torque is nice.
I know.
but-
That's why I really wish I could have gone for the ride.
Right.
I will say, guys, I mean, so the bus that Dave tends to spec in, right, that he requests with the additional torque, recognizing the hill, has 683 pounds of torque. That bus has 2,400 pounds of torque. It was substantial. You knew it when he pushed on it. It moved. It was. I will say I wasn't necessarily 100% sold on it, but after riding it, it's like, I mean, riding it, you wouldn't have thought it wasn't a bus, other than the fact that it's silent, and you definitely felt the torque, and you really did feel the regenerative braking. I mean, as soon as he explained, this driving is more like feathering it all the time rather than like trying to just hold something steady, because you're just trying to gas it a little and then keep it right in there and use, you know, always kind of using the torque. That's kind of part of the training that he was talking about. Yeah, it seems like a win for you guys. Like I said, having the fact that you'll still have 2 diesel buses, and then they do a cool battery conditioning thing, and I would highly recommend they use this for their morning run, because you could schedule it where, like, 2 hours before the route starts, while it's still plugged in, it will turn the heat on, and it will start to condition the battery, and so it charges up to 80%, and then it sits. And then before your route, it starts up this, like, I think he said an hour and a half or something before the route. And so that by the time the driver would show up, the bus is warm. All he's doing is hitting the defroster, doing his pre-trip. He's unplugging the thing, and he's driving it up front with 100% charge in a warm bus. And it's like, thinking about the weather in your area, I mean, that's got to be kind of appealing if I'm Dave. You know, like the idea of not having to go out there and freeze your butt off, you know, and be like, wait a minute, I'm showing up and the bus is already warm.
Kinda cool.
Just to answer your question too, is that he's going to get to know this bus, and he has an opportunity to use it just once a day, or even a few times a week. And the idea is to incorporate it into the driving.
Yeah, and see how it goes.
See how it goes.
Okay, Laura or Kate, you have any questions or comments?
I do.
Go ahead, Laura.
I want to make sure I understand the what we were talking about in terms of moving forward. I think I heard us talking about moving forward with the bus, but only a level 1 charger, not a level 3 charger. Is that right?
Actually, level 2. It's called a level 2 charger, and then a level 3. Level 1 is just plugging into an outlet, which isn't. It's not. And it's not able to do that.
Okay, so moving forward with a level 2 instead of a level 3.
Well, what we were going to do is move forward with the bus, and then Dwight and Greg were going to look into getting pricing to set it up so we could do either one. But we would come off the building. There needs to be some work done on the breaker panel because there should be enough power, but the breakers are in different spots and they need to come off certain breakers, and then to see what they have to do to get it so that we can do both and come back with a price. I just want to make sure we're not shorting ourselves because, we've had probably a few other overruns on some stuff as we discussed in the spring, towards the end of last school year and the beginning of this school year. So I just don't want to put ourselves too far behind the 8 ball. So they're going to come back to us on that. We were going to approve the bus, and then if the board wants to approve the bus, we'll do that, and then we'll give them another couple weeks to work on the charging stuff, and we can decide on that next meeting.
Okay, and so the information that we're asking them to bring back on the differences between the chargers is around cost?
Yes, and then Tracy needs to weigh in too because it's there's if you looked at your packet, there's some other costs that have gone up, and there's some costs that we discussed that are higher than we anticipated, that we discussed in the spring.
Great. Well, I'm very excited for us to be talking about costs, and I'm also very excited to hear that we have excess power we're generating that we could use.
Well, not only that, but we also have the North Branch with their upgrades. They're not using as much of the power as they originally had been, so they'd like to give us some back if they could. So that would be good, because if we find that we're using a little bit more than what our share is, it would be a good time for us to be able to pick up a little bit more from the fire district.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I am in support of that. I am likely in support of us moving to the level 3 charger right out of the gate. I don't know that it would be a good idea to not do that if we're moving with the bus. So be a hard sell for me if we're moving forward with the bus to go to a level 2, not a level 3. Thanks.
Thank you. Kate?
Excited for it. I'm really glad that Dwight and you guys got a chance to go out and test it out and see how it performed. So I'm excited. Thanks.
Cool. So the only other question I had asked, I think I asked at the last meeting, and I just want to confirm that wherever that bus is going, that we can have a training on what happens if it should happen to get a little hot, so that everybody knows how to deal with it. So other than that, as long as that's in there, and I do believe when I asked them, they said that was part of their training.
Yeah, that's a good point. There is training. Well, certainly there's also training for how to drive it is included as well. It's also, I don't know, Greg, you want to talk a little bit about the not the warranty, but what was the other thing that he was going to do for us? Oh, just maintenance, I guess. What the maintenance would look like for the bus as well.
Yeah, I mean, he just talked about he explained to us, we pulled the hood. I mean, the braking system that's on it is no different than your typical bus. The hydraulic lines that drive in the drive area are the same. He said the difference is then there's basically a big computer right there that then has these 2 orange lines that drive back to the electric motor. And so he just said, for the most part, they'll send their mobile guy to come up and look at it, and then from there he'll determine whether or not it would need to get back to them, or do they feel like they could walk a local guy through what the repair would be. They said, they were like, the reality is there really isn't a lot that goes wrong with them, as far as it's either the batteries or the, or something there. So there's a couple of other little technical things that tend to happen, but for the most part, they haven't had lots of like maintenance type issues with them.
Yeah, tires would be your biggest issue because it is heavier than a diesel bus, so you may see the tires wear a little
Well,
more.
there's actually, I did not realize it, but at the shop, I found out that there's special tires for electric vehicles
Yep.
that you have to use, and if not, you wear them out quicker.
That's right.
So are these special tires, and are they available on the state bid package, which is Goodyear calls it the giveaway price?
I'm not sure what tires they came with, but they're on the
Kind
spec.
of outfitted with
They're on the
winter
spec
tires.
with tires that are designed for electric buses.
Yeah, but
The ones that come on it are definitely for electric vehicles.
Right.
But what about requesting winter tires? Because we do have winter here. I know you
Yeah,
don't
sure
much
do.
in Brattleboro, Newfane.
No, we're not
Center
gonna-
Universe.
They don't. Do they put studs on the diesel?
No, we don't stun
You
them,
don't stud them, but just
No, but they're deep.
yeah,
but they're good deep lug.
yeah. We're gonna have to put on.
And usually snow tires are a little softer, so that's why they
I mean,
tend to.
you can, if it's just for the winter months, you can use a standard. As far as I know, you can use a standard
Well,
tire.
let's find out
But
for
let's find
sure.
that out. Yeah.
Because
Okay.
usually winter tires are more expensive, so it'd be nice if we could get winter tires on it when it's new, and if we have to buy summers
Right.
specials. But
Yeah.
let's just look into tires.
It's really just the compounds it uses that they don't wear as
Right.
quickly.
But also, when they don't wear as quick, they don't have as good traction. And that's a compromise. That's why summer tires are harder.
That's right.
So they
That's right.
cool. Training though, don't forget fire department training.
Gotcha.
We have one more quick thing.
Real quick or just quick?
Real quick. Is that price for the 3 and 2 phase whatever? Is that all going to be priced to have conduits put in and have a trench to where the bus is parked, or are we still jonesing with the idea of having it right next to the building?
We're gonna run it off the building. Yep.
So we're doing the cord thing,
Depending, we could.
The what? Sorry.
the big extension cord you were talking about.
Yeah, it's like $3,000, and you can go from a 16-foot cord to a 25-foot cord. I would recommend that we plan to do that for $3,000 to have that additional footage away from the building. We talked about it. Tracy was concerned about it being parked there full time, and I said, well, the reality is, if we were running it for one route, you could run your morning route, you could come back, you could park it down where the buses are, and then in the afternoon, when you get ready to do the afternoon route, bring it up, park it then, and then do your afternoon route in your diesel bus. And she seemed totally like that was functional. But I do think it would be important to keep it away from the building if we can, just for the sake of just being careful.
Yep. That's what
You all good?
Yep.
Tracy, did you want to say anything? Because you're kind of in the dark a little bit, and I wasn't sure.
I'm in the dark. I could turn my lamp on.
No,
No, I think I said everything I needed to last time. I was just concerned that if it had to be there all the time, because where we would park it is part of our playground. Like a lot of the kids play foursquare and hopscotch and jump rope right there on the pavement between the buildings. We would have to relocate all of the dumpsters and garbage, because Casella there, it would be a little more difficult to get deliveries for the kitchen if we had to have it there all of the time, and the deliveries come like mid-morning to just after lunch. So if we didn't have to have it there all day long, that would be lovely. So that was my only concern. I think it's gonna be I don't know. I think it's gonna be a good thing for Dover School to pilot for the rest of the district. Let's see what happens. I think it's gonna be okay.
No, I totally agree. And if it was the only bus we had, I would be more concerned. But having that we have the two backups, I think like what you said it all, Tracy. I mean, it's good to pilot it. If it works in Dover, it probably will work almost anywhere in Wyndham Central other than Wyndham. So
I agree. I
you
agree.
know, because that hill in Wyndham is pretty nasty, but I'd
Mhm.
love to try the torque going up that hill. So yeah, I mean, I think it's some of the concern, like Laura may remember when Phil was our representative. You know, we got a windmill that wasn't going to cost us a penny, and it should generate enough electricity so in 2 years it paid for the installation that we had to pay. Well, the installation went from $12,000 to $60,000. The thing never worked right. It didn't never generated more than $100 worth of electricity a year because it was down so much, and we wound up giving it away. So it was, you know, even though it was a great idea, and look at, you know, we're gonna, you know, help, you know, wind power and the top of Dover Hill, and it, you know, it was the worst thing we ever did. Yeah, so I think, you know, that's my concern. But again, we didn't rely on that either. And this, as long as we don't get too deep into it, with, you know, running chargers for $100,000 and you know, special pavement and building a gazebo for it and stuff, you know, I think it'll work, and we can try it, and you know, let's see how it goes. So do we want to? How do you have the package? Do you have the number? What do you guys need us to motion and vote on?
I think we need a motion to approve the rebate program for the purchase of the electric bus, and the with Anderson at a cost of $345,000.
Is
Is that right, Greg? You think? Oh, you're muting it. You're muted.
Greg, unmute yourself so we can hear your wisdom.
My wisdom, sure. The thing is the 345 includes the level 2 charger. And like I said, I think it would make sense to kind of make the decision now on the level 2 or 3, because we need to get an invoice from him for that. Do you want, would it be advantageous? I guess I probably should have already asked him for this, but I wanted to know if you all wanted to support the level 2 or 3, and then what we would do is get a formal quote for that. To have that, it would be about 10,000 more. Could we maybe do something like, hey, we approve the bus with the level 3 charger at no more than $355?
Yeah, but just for in terms of the rebate, you know, we need to get a motion of the board to approve the cost for the rebate. And I understand what Greg's saying. There may be a separate motion for that. I think, because we need, you know, just in terms of what we need to provide for the rebate to get the funds. I don't know. Think about that one, but
yeah, I mean, I'm okay doing the bus as one.
mm-hmm.
And can we do the bus as one, Greg? And then can we just tell him and let him know in 2 weeks which level charger we're going for?
Sure, let's do that. I can make that work.
Because that gets you the bus 2 weeks earlier. So maybe that's a month earlier. We'll see it. You know,
Yeah,
Right.
And it ensures that we hit the October 31 deadline too, you know, for making sure that he knows we're good, we're going with him. He can move now on his end. You know, he knows that part of it's good, and we'll just say, hey, give us a little bit of time. We want to get a quote from our electrician of what it would be different to run the single phase versus the 3-phase out there. If there's a huge difference, then we may choose to do the single. If it's nominal, then we'll probably, then spring to do the 3-phase. That sound?
We should also maybe talk to Travis, and you know what? I mean, he may be able to, if all we're doing is just hooking, if you're going to have a plug on the outside of the building, it's not that difficult to run some conduit wherever you're going to run it to, and just, put an 8x8 in the ground to have a post and do, so if the town may be able to help us with the digging to get it further away from the building to make Tracy smile a little bit more about it too. Because if she's happy, then everybody will be happy over there.
Mm.
You know that.
Yeah. Well, it's how it should be. So, is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you
I have a question.
Yeah, hang on a second, Laura. So, yeah, bring it back. Bring us back on the charge and what we can do, and then just check with Tracy and see if cost was no object, where we would want to put it. And then, let's just get a price to see what it is to get it where she would want it. If she could have her, if she could just wish it anywhere. where it would want to be, and let's see what the cost is versus putting it off the building and getting the longer cord, because it may not be as different as we think.
They estimated trenching and doing all that being close to 50, between 50 and 60. Because in order to come off, well, but I guess you probably wouldn't have to if you came off the building though. You wouldn't need the additional transformer.
Building over, right?
Yep. Yeah, we'll check it out.
Okay, go ahead, Laura.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I understand what the potential risks are of moving forward with the bus and leaving the question of the charger open. If any.
Greg or Dwight?
That's a Greg question.
Sorry, I thought you were asking Rich. I'm sorry.
Did you hear my question, Greg? You want me
I
to
missed
repeat it?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. So I want to understand what the risks are potentially with moving forward with the bus and not having made the decision about the charger.
My concern is that the bus includes a level 2 charger. And if we say yes to that and don't get back to them in time, would we then get stuck having to pay the full $16,000 for a 3-phase charger versus kind of being able to absorb the $6,000 that they've already included in the bid? That's my only concern.
Okay, and do you know how long we have to provide them an answer?
I do not, but I'm sure that we have a couple weeks. And that's why when Rich said that, I was like, actually, we should be able to make that work because, the fact is it's going to be 6 months before we see the bus. So for them, it's not that big of a deal to, as long as they know it's coming, I'm sure they'll be willing to be flexible.
So I would really like you to be certain about that. So if the board takes an action, I would not want us to move forward with the bus if we don't have time to decide what kind of charger. I would not want us to commit to the bus without also committing to the charger level.
So my only concern, Laura, is that we're in Vermont. It's no longer summer. And, we have our next board meeting where we would be able to vote on that. We have a snowstorm and we have to cancel the board meeting. And then we don't get to vote on it. And then it's now after, because then everybody's busy and we can't get everybody together and we don't vote on it till after, until November. And then we don't qualify for the thing. That's why I want to at least get the bus part of it in play.
I have to interrupt you, Richard. Since when do we cancel school board meetings and for snow in October?
We had a 2 foot, we had a 2 foot snowstorm once in October and we canceled everything.
I don't recall us canceling a school board meeting. That would be really crazy. So I want to be prudent. I think this is good for us to pilot. I just want to make sure that we have the opportunity for a level 3 without added cost, because if we're going for an electric bus, that is the long-term most cost-effective choice, I believe.
Okay, well, thank you. Anybody else? So we've had a bunch of opinions and thoughts and discussion. So I guess if somebody would like to make a motion and there's a second, we can vote. If nobody wants to make a motion, we can just put it off to our next meeting.
I'm happy to make a motion to, I would like to make a motion to move forward with the bus, provided that we have until November 1st to make a decision about the charger at no additional cost.
Hey, Meredith?
And I don't know, I think that,
Yes.
Oh, Laura, hang on one second. Did you get Laura's motion that you could read it back to us if we asked you to?
Laura made a motion to approve, I put the rebate program for the bus, provided that they have until November 1st to make a decision on the charger.
Okay. Laura, that is your motion. Before you say anything else, let's just get a second. So we're somewhat following procedure. Is there a second from anybody on the board? Okay, if
I'll
there's,
second it if I was gonna second it. I'll second
well,
it.
you can second it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Laura. You had some more discussion, so it's your floor.
I just want to ask Greg if that November 1st deadline is problematic in any way that you're aware of at this point. Okay, great. Then I'm good.
No.
Thank you, Rich.
Okay, Dwight, you have any more further comment, discussion, since you seconded the motion?
No, I just think it's a good plan. I really like to get this moving today because there's a lot of paperwork and a long form that I got to fill out, and Greg and I have to work on it together with the district, to make sure that they get all the information they need, and the more time the better. So I'd like to get that moving. I feel comfortable too with the with the charger. I actually don't have.
I'm going to work on your outfit with you, okay?
And
Everyone
Meredith, Meredith, mute yourself.
Okay?
Meredith,
Okay.
mute yourself. Meredith. Meredith.
Meredith.
Can you mute Meredith?
Yeah. Oh, she's good. She's good.
Okay.
So anyway, so I feel comfortable too with the charger. I think I do need a little more information, to be honest, from what it's going to cost as well. It's not. I do believe at level 3, I'm in favor of it, but I would like to know the exact cost as well. Yeah. So that's the way I think.
But I'd also like it away from the building too, the most.
Yeah. So we have some things to decide there, and I think Greg and I can work together on that to get that done by the next meeting.
Okay. Hey, I just though I know Laura's motion said by November 1st, but I'd like it by the next school board meeting because that's when I'd like to approve it. So, hey, Greg, can you hear us?
He's on a phone
He's
call.
on
Oh,
the
I see
phone.
that.
Oh, he's off the
He's
phone.
getting info for us, maybe.
Yeah.
Did you get us info, Greg?
Yeah, man, I was on the phone with the bus guy.
Oh
So he says no problem. We can approve the bus now, and we can sort out the charger later.
Okay, so the only thing I said is I'd like to have it at the next meeting. We vote on the charging system. So that's 2 weeks. You'll be good with that?
Yeah, I think we can get that done.
I'll do my best to be.
Okay. So Laura's good with that.
Laura's
So
happy.
if is there any other discussion? Or are you ready to vote? Does anybody want to hear the motion again, or are we all set?
We're good.
Everybody's good? Okay, I see a lot of head shaking. All those in favor of Laura's motion, which I can't repeat, but it was basically to buy the bus and we'll figure the charger out later by November 1st. If you're in favor of that, signify so by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
Kate, were you good? Yeah,
Aye.
okay. It appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. Oh my God, Mike, they're getting an electric
I
bus.
can't even
The
believe
world
it.
is changing.
My mind is blown.
So, hey Bob,
Dongles
folks,
and
I'm gonna
electric buses.
dangles and dongles
The
and
dongles in the
electric
corner of my
buses.
eye. I'm losing.
Flying a spaceship.
Okay,
I love it.
hey, I'm gonna skip a little bit, and Bob, superintendent's update, because I know you need to get to the West River thing. So do you have anything that you need to let us know that isn't in writing somewhere, or?
No, I just want to highlight that we are getting into a busy season, starting with budgeting. You guys are obviously towards the end of that process as far as the districts go, as far as timelines, but Heidi will be coming around to folks to ask for direction. So I think that's coming to you guys probably at the next meeting. I think I put it in my cabinet report, but Rich and I talked about doing a little mini presentation at the SU board meeting about the learning I've had at the Certificate of Education Finance program through Georgetown that I'm enrolled in currently. So I'll have a little bit of information about that. Yeah, I mean, other than that, there's lots going on around, but trying to think of anything in particular for you guys, and nothing really specific. So I'm happy to take any questions and see what I can do.
I see Greg left, but I did have one quick question on your cabinet report. And I see that WCSU Transportation is meeting on Thursday, review the electric bus bids for River Valley to make a recommendation to the board. So is River Valley looking at doing one also or not? I thought that was pretty much said that that would never happen.
West River, yeah. West River Transportation is not looking at an electric bus.
But isn't that what it says in the report? I'm sorry, I thought I saw that in the report, but I may have been wrong. WCSU is making Oh, okay, WCSU Transportation Committee, that didn't make sense. Is meeting on Thursday to review the electric bus bids for River Valley to make a recommendation to the board.
Yeah, we did that.
So, no, I didn't know if that was, but it's WCSU Transportation Committee.
Yeah, I found that unusual too, but they still, they
So
okayed it.
did they they okayed it?
Yeah,
Oh, thank that they okayed us.
yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry, Bob.
I was there.
No worries.
Okay, so,
Yeah, that's really all I had. And I assume you guys are gonna come back to the hiring committee makeup procedure. And if you want to table that till I'm more available to be there for the conversation, that would be great. If not, I did add some statutory language to that draft so that you guys can see where the statutory pieces come up as far as hiring goes.
why don't we just table that till you're here?
Okay,
I mean, we've
I
been
appreciate
tabling it for a few months, so I guess 2 more weeks isn't gonna kill us.
All right. Yeah, I think that is all I have. Oh, did you want Greg back? I can text him about getting back on to talk about the UV, the water system.
No, we can do that next meeting too. We got enough of his time too. He got abused enough today.
All right.
I'll call him and just ask him my questions anyways. Because I did
Okay.
talk to an engineer about it too, because I was confused a little bit about it. But the pricing was a lot less for the replacement bulbs than I thought. The bulbs were like almost nothing. We have the invoice in the packet. So
So you don't want me to reach back out to him then? Okay.
no, that's fine.
All right. Well, then if you have no other questions, I will see you guys next time, but thank you for moving me up. Appreciate it.
Does anybody have any questions for Bob before he leaves?
I'm good. Thanks, Bob.
Okay, thank you. See you. Good luck.
All
Hey,
right,
send me
thank
a
you.
text. Let me know how it goes.
Will do.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so board vacancy update. We appreciate you coming in, and we'll hopefully see you at the next meeting.
Yep.
You know where the Dover building is?
The Dover School.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
where we'll be.
yeah.
Dover building. It's the River Valley School.
Okay, yeah.
See, that's the first thing you're gonna get asked, so practice that one. Hiring committee makeup we're gonna put off, so other than that, I don't think there's any other old business, anybody? Under new business, Wardsboro UV System, I just asked Bob because I noticed that Wardsboro had an issue with their UV system.
Yeah, there's 2 of them, and one of the systems wasn't functioning, and then they came out to check it, and then both of them went down. And I don't know that much about it, but Greg said the system had to be upgraded. It
Yeah,
was
so-
archaic.
So the reason I brought it up is for most water systems choose to chlorinate, and we just did a chlorination system in a system. It was a third this amount of money, but the lamps have to be on a UV system. The lamps have to be replaced every year, whether you use it or not. And this is just standby chlorination, so this is not something that's always in play. This is only if they have an issue or they have a bad a bacteria or a E. coli hit. So it's almost $13,000. So I just questioned it, and I did talk to an engineer that's doing some design work for me on a couple of my water systems, and I asked because I knew we looked into UV stuff on a couple of our places, and there's a difference. UV won't give you a 4-log inactivation. I'm not exactly sure what 4-log means. I remember it on the test, but it's how clean you can make the water. So I was just going to talk to Greg and just make sure, because again, it seems like a lot of money, and if we could do standby chlorination for less, but then I think you have to have a different class licensed operator, and I'm not sure what class you guys have. So
What's the benefit of a UV over chlorination? I'm not even sure about what it is.
It's a different type, so you're not introducing any chemicals into the water like we introduce chlorine.
Right.
But so the water goes through a system where ultraviolet lights bombard the water and supposedly kills stuff.
Okay.
But I don't think it kills it to the extent that chlorine will. But when you do chlorine, you have to monitor the chlorine once a day to make sure that your levels don't, because you can go too high.
Yep.
with it, and then you know, what kind of what we do on the water systems for you. So and then again, if you don't use a standby chlorination system, it's, you know, all you have to do is run it once a year. You can run it in summer, just make sure it's putting out chlorine, and you measure it.
Right.
But if you don't ever use the UV system, you still have to replace the bulbs. The bulbs have a shelf life just sitting there without being used. I thought the bulbs were a couple $1,000 a piece, but they're showing the bulbs here to only be around $800. So I thought they were quite a bit more. That's why I just wanted to talk to Greg.
Okay.
So anyways, that's it on the water system, and we lost Greg and Bob, so we can talk about that later.
Okay.
So budgeting timeline in your packet, I don't think Heidi's here. Again, as Bob said, you know, we have one of the last meetings at the end of the year. So there's a page, it's board direction. So next meeting we have to give, we need to give direction on budgeting. Then Heidi meets with the principals at both buildings, and the WCSU budget overview is presented in the middle of December. We usually vote that early because we have to, because people like the West River group have an earlier timeline. They vote in March. So for them to get their warning and their meetings out. So for us, we don't meet until, we don't vote until April. So she was questioning budget meeting to be determined, budget meeting approved deadline sometime in February. And the reason I like that is they're all done, because even though the budgets may not be voted on, they're already presented, they're in the books, and they're headed out. And then we have the budget info meetings in Dover and Wardsboro, and they're really not to be determined. They are in our articles of agreement that next year I think we meet in Wardsboro, so we would have the presentation at the meeting in Dover just before, within 7 to 10 days, and then we always do the courtesy, the first meeting, even though it may not, it's outside of that 10-day timeline. We present it to the town. We're going to have the meeting. So I think what we need to do is for next meeting, we'll look at the schedule for November, December, January, and February, and fit it in, because remember, usually January we lose our second meeting because of Martin Luther King, and then I think we have President's Week, President's Day, or whatever that's called, holiday's called now, in February is usually the second February meeting. So we're gonna have to do some different night meetings, and then we have to fit it in between Bob's schedule and the administrator's schedule and the TV guy's schedule. So let's plan on Meredith, can you just make people gotta stop moving around on the screen. Meredith, can you just note that we need to, at the next meeting, figure out our schedule from November through February?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any thoughts or and please, for the next meeting, just have some ideas so we can give some direction or thoughts to the administration and to Heidi on budgeting strategy, or what we would like to see in the budget.
Is the date of the annual meeting
It's set, yeah.
That's set, right?
Yeah, and I forget when it is, so
Okay.
we'll get all
We'll get
those
that next
together.
time.
I'm
Okay.
actually surprised they didn't have it listed here, but okay. Kate and Laura, you all good? I think Laura's good. She's probably eating dinner.
Yes.
Yes, you are. Okay, cool. So approved financials. So we do have somewhere in here, we have our pay order 13, 14, and 15. 13 and 14 were pretty easy, $2,292 and $434,326. 15 was a whopper. $290,306.66. So the last three numbers are sixes, and that's not good.
That's not good of you.
Yes. Kate?
I would like to make a motion that we approve pay warrant number 13 in the amount of $292.75. Pay warrant 14 in the amount of $4,326.41. And pay warrant 15 in the amount of $290,306.66.
Do we have a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, Mike seconds the motion. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Appears to be a unanimous decision in the affirmative. It is a unanimous decision in the affirmative. Tracy, principal's report. You can go first.
So I do have, some news. We did, Mike helped us with interviews, to replace Miss Katrina. We thought we had a candidate back, before school started, and that didn't work out. So it had been, reposted, and we, had a couple of interviews. Both of them were really, really good. We went one way, and it turns out that the other para is really the other person we interviewed was really, really interested in being a para, and I asked her if I could send her resume along to the SU, to Stephanie Beatty Hancock, and she said yes. So I'm hoping that that would be someone that Stephanie can utilize also for a hole she has elsewhere in the supervisory union. I just want to explain the budget for the kitchen. Shane, who is our kitchen manager, Shane Holland, has come to me a few times because the state of Vermont has encouraged us to go to this offer versus serve program, which is where we provide the students choices of fresh fruits and vegetables for them for both breakfast and lunch. And because we're buying tons of fresh fruits and vegetables for both Dover and Wardsboro, it is going to skew the line. And she was very worried about that. But some benefits is that we have more kids eating school lunch. We have very little waste. Kids are eating what they're taking because they're getting the choice to choose. It's not just lima beans, green beans, carrots, out of a can that nobody wants to eat. Like they're choosing pea pods or a salad or cucumbers and or hummus. They get to choose what they want. Shane and Bobby have given us so many great fresh fruits. Kids are loving it. The downside is that they're a little more expensive, but Shane is really working on how to offset it. So we may be changing our snack program at school. I don't know the exact ins and outs of this, but I can give you the gist. So basically, there is a program through the state of Vermont, which requires a lot of paperwork, but Donna Albin has agreed to help us with that, where we provide all of the kids with a fresh fruit snack, and then they, in return, will give us money in which we can use to offset the cost of our snack and lunch program, which is my limited understanding of how that works. So she's definitely working to try to figure out ways to help offset the cost of what it costs to buy fruits and vegetables. So I hope that's a little more information. Other than that, we're having a wonderful time at Dover School. Everybody is just in a good place where kids are growing and learning all sorts of new things with the EL curriculum. They're talking and dealing with self-regulation of their emotional well-being a whole lot better, and things are going really well.
Hey, just I don't know if everybody knows who Donna Albin is. Can you just tell us who she is?
Sure. So Donna Albin, I don't know what her exact title is, but she runs the school lunch program. She's responsible for the paperwork and the counts and how they get all of the grant funding and all of that through the state of Vermont.
But she's a WCSU
Yeah,
employee.
she's central office.
It's not a Dover or Wardsboro employee. She works for WCSU and she does all the lunch and meals programs. And she's been here for a while. I think she's done a really good job in trying to keep us. It's very confusing with the free and
There's
reduced.
a lot of
and,
regulations that you have to follow.
Yeah, you
for
have
sure.
to make sure you get the right amount of calories and the
Yep.
right amount of offerings, and can't make pizza every day, even though the kids would love it probably. So, so Tracy, is there any questions for Tracy? Thank you, Tracy, for clarifying that. And like it used to be, the lunch program was a whole separate set of pay warrants, so you could actually see, what it was costing. And I remember a long time ago they switched over to more fresh foods and fruits and stuff, and it did really well for a while. And then that person left, and you kind of have to rebuild, and it's really tough. But I know Tracy, I think everybody really likes Chef Bob and the stuff he puts together for them. It seems like it's a good program. So we also are still doing Wardsboro, right, out of the Dover building. So they're getting the same thing.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Because I know last year there was some, it got to be a little rocky for a little bit trying to get the stuff over here and into the Wardsboro building. But you guys have worked on that and settled that out pretty well too.
Well,
Okay.
It's still got some bumps.
Because we have an electric bus you can transport it in.
We certainly do, don't we?
yeah.
Okay, so I guess if there's a real problem, though, you'll talk to us or let us know what we need to do to help you out.
100%. Thank you.
Okay. Can we maybe go down to Domino's and steal one of their Domino cars that will keep things warm for you?
Well, if we can heat the electric bus up,
There you go.
There you
that'll
go.
keep it warm.
There you go.
How do you keep it cold? Just put it outside.
Yeah, sure.
Any other questions for Tracy? You see a lot of nothing. Tracy, you're off the hook. You done well. Thank you. It's your turn.
I will echo the food service piece that Tracy was talking about. The salad bar that they put, which is actually salad and fruits. They probably have 6 to 7 choices of fruits and maybe 5 or 6 of vegetables, and things that you don't typically see, like star fruit and mangoes and all sorts of cantaloupes. And yeah, the kids are trying them all, and it's great. The program that Tracy was just talking about, we had it over in Brattleboro, and yeah, it takes some paperwork, but you get a lot of free vegetables. They try and work with local farmers, so it's a pretty nice program. So yeah.
Cool.
Fantastic.
Things here are going well. We had our open house last week. We had 75%, I think, of the families came, which I felt was a pretty good number. I think we had almost 80 people in the multi-purpose room.
Wow.
We were serving them pizza, so they came, right?
Bring it
Not
No, it
fresh
was
fruits
good.
and vegetables.
No, just pizza. But it was good. We've got all our fall benchmarking done, and we are setting up support services for the staff. The coaching staff for the SU has been great about coming in and helping out teachers, because we have the new EL curriculum and bridges, and just juggling both of them in the classrooms. But EL is a great program, and I think teachers are starting to kind of vibe with it and understand its purpose. And the kids, I can hear the way kids are talking to each other about books. It's making a big difference. Let's see, what else? Our STEAM program, we're starting a new project called Smart Lamps. It's a K through 6 project, so we'll be talking more about that. The Spanish teacher accepted the position, so she will be starting, I think, the end of this month, beginning of next. Yeah, that's about it. Fire safety this month, the fire department's coming over, budget time, and thanks to Jen McCusick at Central Office, she got a grant for a bunch of trade books through the EL program, so we got all those in. Yeah, things are good. We're getting in a groove, I think.
So I think we're going to I think sometime in November we were gonna see if you and Tracy could put together kind of how that EL is working and your thoughts, and maybe like a 5-minute presentation, 5 or 10 minutes, just so people understand, because I know there's a pretty big investment throughout the SU, and it seemed as though everything I heard from Tracy early before, like last year and this year, so far is that the staff is buying into it and they like it. But we just, again, it's a pretty big commitment, so I just want to make sure that
Absolutely.
we kind of go over it and discuss it and make sure that we're still all happy with it. Any questions for
I have one.
Wardsboro? Go ahead.
I noticed in the report that there was something about you guys were shifting how the librarian splits their time between the two schools. Can you give me a little bit more info about that?
Sure. So Tracy and I talked. So previously we had the librarian for half a day, and Dover had the librarian for a day and a half, right, Tracy? And we were really feeling like the time that the librarian was here was just back-to-back classes. She'd walk in, do classes, and then leave. And a librarian's role is so much more than that. Just keeping the library updated, putting books away, cataloging books, collaborating with teachers, and Wardsboro wasn't really feeling like they had that. So Tracy and I had a conversation, and we figured out a schedule that seems pretty equitable based on the number of kids in each building. So that's what we've started. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I think the cataloging of books has been a challenge. I know last year my family saw a couple notes at the end of the year that we didn't return books, which was interesting. So I think that.
Yeah. And I'm hopeful with the EL program, like 3rd and 4th grade are starting research projects, and I think that would be really useful to have another staff member help with that, because especially in a small school, I think it takes a village to kind of support each other. And Tracy looked at her schedule and said, "Yeah, I can share." So that's what we did. Yeah. So it's still work in progress. It just started a couple weeks ago. Tracy and I were able to hammer out the kind of details with it, but.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you both for looking at the schedule and working together on that.
Sure.
I'll say Kate.
Yep.
Hey, Laura or Dwight or Mike.
Good, thank you.
Okay, you got the thumbs up. There you go.
Oh, I did one more comment. Congratulations on finding a Spanish teacher as well.
You're supposed to say in Spanish, Kate.
I was trying, but my brain at this time of night was like I just couldn't even pretend to come up with the words. It was going to be embarrassing. So.
Say gracias.
Gracias.
There you go. That's the Spanish. I just learned that.
Yeah.
I know how you say dongo
I
in
was just
Spanish.
gonna say that. I was just gonna say that.
Good job.
Oh. See, look at all the fun you may have. Okay, if that's it on principal's update, we did the superintendent's update. I had just one note. I just want to recognize, and I meant to bring it up, and it was on the wrong page, but we did have a member of the public send us some information about electric bus issues, but that was a really different topic. That was more where a school district hired a company to bring in the electric buses, set everything up and run it. And it's a little different than our situation. I appreciate the person sending it to us. And we didn't put it in the packet, but in this instance, we're buying the bus. We will own the bus. We will own the infrastructure. So it's all on us. It's not this one. It appeared to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, whoever saw it, was I think that was more like you hire a company who's a broker and they buy buses, they bring them in, they set you up, they take them away when they're bad, and I guess some districts were promised 150 buses and they got 20 or something. So this is just one, and it's so I think we're going to be okay with that. But I just wanted to recognize that we did get that, and we did have Greg and Dwight did look at it. And it is a little bit of a different situation. So Is there any other new business that I've missed? Cool, so we should only have another 3.5 hours for the meeting. Tracy, why are you laughing? You look very comfortable. We want to see how well the new guy may do, so we just want to see how late he can, what kind of stamina he has in a meeting. So anyways, consent agenda, then the minutes of the 9/16/24. If nobody has any objections or anything to say about them, we'll accept them by unanimous consent. Okay, by unanimous consent, we've accepted the 9/16/24 meeting. And correspondence, I didn't have anything. Bob is gone. Tracy, nothing. Tracy shaking her head no. We still have the future planning in the parking lot. Hopefully we can maybe put some time into that at the next meeting. And the next meeting, speaking of which, is October 21st, 2024 at the Dover School at 6 p.m. Tracy said that she's going to make the best cookies we ever had.
Right.
Yay, Tracy. She's not smiling, so I guess she's not.
No cookies.
That's not
No cookies, Tracy?
No, I'm shaking her
Okay.
head.
Hey, speaking of cookies, there's a bake sale this Sunday in Wardsboro to benefit the school club.
I don't think they'll last, will they?
There's some
I
leftover.
don't know. It depends. Probably not.
When's the Turnip Festival?
27? Is it?
So it's after the
26th?
Hold on, roll off.
23rd's no.
26th.
26. That was close.
Oh,
26.
next work. Okay.
I should bring up that the Dover School Club, I believe, had some kind of bake sale at the 91 rest area.
Oh.
And they did extremely well.
Oh, in like
Yeah.
Milford or something?
Yeah, you
yeah,
sign
yeah.
up
Yeah,
way ahead
you
of
do
time.
really well. We
Yeah,
did
they-
one at Reedsboro
They
there.
did
You
extremely
make-
well.
Yeah.
Since we're doing those, that tomorrow night at American Flatbread at 4 o'clock is the Wardsboro Library
Yeah.
fundraiser. So
Hey, now.
4 o'clock. Since we're both doing this.
All right.
I have no fundraisers to tell you guys about, sorry. So, I know you guys are all like looking at your watches saying it's only 7:15.
Oh, no.
We've only been here an hour and 15 minutes.
It flew by.
There must be something more
It's
we can
gotta be.
discuss.
It's gotta be.
But if there isn't, I know one person would love to get out of here. That's me.
That's me. That's you.
No.
Ditto.
If we have nothing else, I'd love to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I can make a motion to adjourn at 7:14 p.m.
I would like to second that.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Laura's came right
Aye.
down. Aye.
Hey.
Okay, thank you everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
meeting. We got a lot done.
That's great.
Bye, y'all.
So just